Hello viewers, in this tutorial I am going to demonstrate how to connect Microsoft Power BI with Microsoft SQL Server database or simply SQL database, pull the data and create a simple analytical report. Please note that the purpose of this tutorial is not to teach you about database but to focus on how to connect, pull the data and design a report in Power BI. So without delaying, let's first start with downloading the Microsoft Power BI desktop version, which is a free to learn software. Currently, it is available only for Windows platform, so we are going to install it in our Windows PC. To download the software, first we'll search for the Power BI desktop in Google search, and we will go to this Microsoft Power BI desktop download site from www.microsoft.com. Let's open it, and then we need to select the language, which is obviously going to be English for us. And there are a couple of details available, which you can take a look into, like what is the version of the Power BI desktop that we are going to download. The version 2.114.864.0 is the latest on the date I am making this video. In your case, it may be more recent depending on when you are downloading it. How much space is required for the installer, what version of the installer available, and a couple of other requirements like your Windows version. It supports up to Windows 8.1, Windows Server 2016, etc. Quite a few backward compatibilities there, and the installation instructions. So we don't need to go into detail into that. Just click on the download button here, and then we have the option to download the 32-bit and 64-bit version of the Power BI installer. And obviously, it's going to be 64-bit. Most of the PCs or desktops or your laptops are 64-bit these days. So we'll select the 64-bit and click next, and then it will start downloading the software, which is around 460 MB, and it's taking around a couple of seconds, and it is done. Now I'll click on the installer to start the installation. Let's minimize this window. Yeah, and we have the setup program. The language is English. Click next. Click yes for the permission. Let it complete the computation of the space requirements. Click on the next button and accept the terms of the license agreement. Click next, and we are okay with the path selected for installation, C:\program files Microsoft Power BI desktop. We'll click next and create a desktop shortcut. We'll select this option, and then the installation will start. Now the installation is completed, and we'll click finish. The launch Microsoft Power BI desktop is checked on, so it will be started automatically after we close the installer. And there we go. We have a shortcut created in the desktop, and the Power BI application console looks like this. We will close all these splash screens because we'll get everything we need to learn through the menu items. And now we are ready to connect to our database, pull the data and create our first analytical report. I assume that you already have access to a SQL database, either in your local machine or in your organization's network, along with the credentials to connect. If it is not in your local machine, you will get all the connection details and credentials from the database administrator or DBA of your database in your organization. Alternately, if you want to have a SQL database locally for learning purpose, you can install the Microsoft SQL Server in your local machine, which is a free software, and there are tons of videos in YouTube showing how to install and create database in SQL Server. In this video, I am mainly focusing on how to connect to the database, pull the data and design your report. To connect to the database, first click on this Get Data button. Then go to this More options. Then in this dialog box, select this database option in the left, and in the right hand pane, select the topmost one, that is the SQL Server database, and then click on this Connect button. In this dialog box, we need to supply mainly the server or the host that has your SQL Server database. If the database is in your local machine, you can simply supply the server name as localhost or the actual name of the PC or the machine. But if it is in your network, you have to mention the name of the server with which it is identified in the network. I have my SQL Server database in a server named Home Server in my home network. So I'll put the name as Home Server, and I'm keeping all the other options as default, and then click on this OK button. If the server you mentioned has a SQL database in it and it is reachable, it will ask for the credentials to connect, that is your username and password. And you have a few different options here like Windows, database and Microsoft account. First, with the Windows authentication, which will use your current Windows OS user's credential in this PC. If the current user has been granted access to the SQL database, then you may use that. If you want, you may also use an alternate Windows account instead of the current user if you select this second option of alternative credentials. Second, with the database credentials, which will use a database username and a password pair to connect to the database. With Power BI or any other such reporting or analytical applications, it is quite common to have a dedicated database user to establish the connection and pull the data. So we will use this option in this demonstration. The third option can be used if you have a Microsoft account configured with SSO or single sign-on in your organization and configured with database access. Again, if the database you intended to connect is not in your local machine, you will get all these details about what option you need to use to connect to the database from your organization's DBA. So you don't have to worry about that. So as I mentioned, I will use this second option, which is quite common. Then I'm going to provide the username, which is rep user in my case, and the password. And then click on this connect button. There's a warning about encryption support. It may or may not display this warning about encryption support based on whether encryption is enabled, but for learning purpose, we can simply click on the OK button to ignore it. And if your credentials are correct, it will present the next navigation window where we will see all the available databases on the specified server. And now we can see that in our server named home server, we have 4 databases, which are SQL databases. Here, you have to expand the right database which you have access to and that has the data you want to pull. In my case, it is the database named MS SQL DB from where I want to pull some employee related data, and the table that I want to pull the data from has a name employee and that is under the schema my schema. Just ignore this first table with the same name employee because this table belongs to the default schema, that is the DBO, and it doesn't have the data that I want to pull. So I will select the second one, and in your case also you have to select the right tables from where you want to pull the data. So I'll click on this checkbox at the left. Now in this list, if you want, you can select multiple tables from where you want to pull the data. And Power BI model option can be used to relate them with each other. But in this demo, I will simply use the one table named employee, which has everything I want to pull. The employee table has 4 columns or fields, which are department, first name, last name, and the salary of each of the employees. And then we need to press this load button to load the data into Power BI. Please note that the data displayed in this navigation window is just a preview and not all the rows in the table. And also, the table has just 12 rows for demonstration. It will take a couple of seconds to load the data, and the data has been loaded. And if you want to take a look, you can click on this data view. It will show us the information or the data available. And this gives us the model view of the data. Right now, there is nothing to model because there is just one relation or table we can see, or you can say it's an entity, and that has the employee information. So we will not go deeper into the modeling part here. Now we'll go back to our report view. That is nothing but the canvas where we are going to design our report. So in the right hand side, you will see a lot of visualizations available. And from that, we will first select the most simplest, the table view. And once you click there, the table visual will be automatically available in your canvas. And then we will select our fields from this table, which is available with our employee data. First, we will select the department. You can drag and drop here, or you can click on this checkbox here, which will automatically add that to this report. and we can see that the department information is available. Then we will add the first name, and we see the first names are available, then the last name, and finally the salary. And we will make this a little bigger, and that's our first tabular view of the data. Next, we are going to add a pie chart to show us the sum of salaries grouped by each of these departments, to find out which department is actually paying the maximum salary to their employees. So we will click on this pie chart, and if you see that immediately our table view has changed to a pie chart. In fact, it was a mistake, and when one of the visual is already selected, if you click on any of the other visuals here, your original visual will change the type to that particular type which you have just selected. So don't do that. I will just undo it, and we go back to our table view, click outside of this table so that we can add a new visual. So this pie chart is available, and here we will add our information because we want to see the sum of the salary grouped by each of the departments. So first, our legend will be added here as department, and the values will be salary. By default, Power BI is going to sum up all the salaries in each of the department, and if we increase the size, we can see that which slice has the biggest size, and it is the IT which is paying the maximum salary as 38,500. Next, we are going to add a filter. A filter is nothing but, say, if you want to see the information related to accounts department or say IT department, that way you can select only the relevant data. And to do that, again, we will click outside of any of these visuals like in the canvas. Then we will add this slicer here, and it adds one slicer, and this is going to work as our filter. So what we want to filter here is the department. So select the department here, and the department's information are available. And now you can see that, say, if we want to select the data only from accounts department, select the accounts, and you can see that the employees now displayed there are only belonging to the accounts department. And also this pie chart has changed to a complete circle, which is showing us information only related to accounts department. Now, if you want to select another department along with accounts, you have to select using Control, then click on the other one. And we see that the accounts and admin both are selected, and now we can see the relevant information, and also the pie chart has changed to 2 slices now. Now we'll make some room for another visual. We'll take it to the rightmost and put the filter at the top left corner, and then we'll also increase the size of this pie chart. Now I'm going to add another graphical visual here, which will tell us the employees which are getting the maximum salary, or they will be shown in an order of their salary. We are going to add this ribbon chart. Click on that, and it has added one ribbon chart there. Let's increase the size, and in the x-axis we will put the last name, and in the y-axis we are going to put the sum of salary. Let's see what it's going to give us. And we see that now the salaries are ordered in the descending order, and we can see that the person with the last name Case is getting the maximum salary, and the one with the last name Damon has the second highest salary from these 2 departments. Now let's unselect. When nothing is selected in the filter, by default it is selecting all of them. So now we can see that the person with the last name Lopez has the maximum salary of 20,500, but this is incorrect information. Why? Because you see there are actually 2 persons with the name Lopez in their last name, and it is showing the sum of the salary, but we don't want that, and actually we want a single employee to be shown in each of these ribbons. And to do that, what we are going to do, we are going to add one column here, and which is going to be actually a calculated column. And the reason why we are going to do that is we have the first name and last name as two different fields in our table, and because of that, two persons with the last name Lopez are actually considered to sum up their salaries here, and we don't want that. So to add a column, what we are going to do, we will click on these three dots here, and we will select this new column, and that will give us the option to create the new column here, and we will change the name to, say, full name. That equals to our first name. Select this. If you type in the first few letters, Power BI is automatically going to suggest you the relevant fields, and then one double quote, space, another double quote to enclose the space in between, then another ampersand, and here we are going to add the last name. So this is our field from employees table. We will select it, and we have to change the data type here to text. Press enter, and we see that the full name field is added there, and this is a calculated field or column, and it was not there in the original data model. Now what we are going to do in this ribbon chart, we are going to simply replace our last name with the full name here, and that is going to solve our problem. Now we can see that the person with the name Nicholas Case has the highest salary, and the second highest is the Bruce Lee, third highest is the Chris Lopez, etc., etc. Now to make it more relevant, we are going to add some more information here. For example, each of these ribbon will have their relevant value at the top. How we are going to do that? We selected our ribbon chart, go to this format your visual, then click on this data levels option, and we turned it on, and we can see that the values are coming, but it is in the middle, and we can change it if we want. First of all, your position will be, there are a couple of options there: inside end, inside center, inside base. So we can put it like inside end, and that brings it to the top of the ribbon. And now we can put some conditional formatting, something like if the salary is more than 10,000, then that will be represented as an orange color, and if it is between 8,000 to 10,000, that will be in a green color, and below 8,000, suppose it's in blue color. So how to do that? To do that, we will go to this ribbons options under the visuals, and here if you see, there is a conditional formatting next to the default color. So that conditional formatting will give us the options to set the color as per their values. So we'll click on this FX, and we will select the options like formatting style will be rules, and the sum of the salary. Don't worry, even if it is sum of the salary, but it's within the individual employee, so it's not going to change the value. Now if the value is greater than equal to 0 number and less than, say, 8,000 number, then it is going to be represented with blue color. Then add a new rule. Next, if the value is greater than or equal to 8,000 number and less than 10,000 number, then it will be represented in a green color. To select the green color, which is not available in the default screen, we will click on this more colors, and we will drag this slider, then we'll click on this green color area, and then click outside, and it will take the green color now. Add a new rule, and this will be, say, if the value is greater than or equal to 10,000 number less than, we will simply delete this 0 there, and that will take a maximum value which we don't have to define, and then say it will be represented with an orange color. So drag this slider, click on this orange area, click outside, and it is selected. Now click there, and we can see that the color has changed. And now simply looking at the ribbons, we can say that there are 5 employees or 6 employees getting more than $10,000 in salary per month, and 4 employees between 8 to 10, and 2 employees below 8,000. And to make the report a little more nicer, we will change the background. Just click on any empty area and then go to the format your report page, this option, click on the canvas background, and we will make it black, and the transparency will be 0. Now we can see the visuals are more distinctly displayed. And if we want to change the title of this ribbon chart, we can do that by simply selecting it, then go to this general tab, click on the title to get the title options, and we'll simply put employee by salary. And also we can add a title or header to this entire report here. Simply click on this text box here. That will bring a text box to the canvas, and we will take it to the top, increase the width, reduce the height, and then go to its properties, and we will turn on the title and put a title like, say, employee salary data. And then we will change the font to, say, something better. Our text color will be white, background color will be no fill, and then we'll go to another option, that is the effects, and we will make it 100% transparent. And then also we need to align the header in centers and also increase the size a little, and that completes our analytical report. Now we need to save this report. Click on the save button here at the top left corner, and I will save it in my project folder, and the extension it is going to take is the pbix. This pbix file is in portable format and can be copied to other machine and open there using another Power BI installation. Now if you want to publish this report in your enterprise level, you can do so by clicking in this publish button. But in the desktop version of this software, this publishing option is not available. It has to be professional license for this software to publish your work at your organization level. But for learning purpose, this software is free. So I would say learn this software as much as you can and build your career in the field of data analytics. I have a full series on Power BI and Oracle about how to create simple to advanced level analytical reports. And if you want to learn advanced level Power BI reports and dashboards, I suggest you watch that series, for which I have given the link in the description of this video below. Again, it doesn't matter which database you are pulling the data from. It may be an Oracle database, Postgres database, MySQL, or an Excel spreadsheet. All that matter is that how you present the data in your analytical report. So viewers, please provide your feedback in the comment section of the video and hit the like button if you found it useful. That will mean a lot to me and help grow this channel.